What's up, my fellow weirdos who hopefully care about this topic as much as me? So, Valorant did a thing, okay, released a character that is non-binary, which doesn't even mean anything really, because in my opinion, all characters in Valorant are technically non-binary. Why? Because it doesn't even play into their fucking character, like it doesn't matter, but anyway, so Valorant released a character specifically calling it non-binary, and again, in my opinion, by the way, I think it's stupid, okay? We'll get into why. But as you can see, this is just a few of the, a few of the posts people made. I hate that I can't even be excited for this because men are going to use this as yet another way to target and terrorize LGBT who are just trying to play the game. I'm sorry, but like, I mean, yeah, you wanna blame the men, sure. Honestly, I'ma blame Riot for this one, for even like doing this. This is the same as like people dissing players who play Lalafels in Final Fantasy 14. You know, it's like, it's gonna happen. Keep gender identity out of video games. Video games don't have to one-to-one replicate reality. Helldivers 2 mentality way better. Sad. To an extent, I agree with WestJet, but I'll explain why. And you're like, oh yeah, of course, a cis white man is gonna agree with that take. Honestly, I think both sides of the argument are fucking idiots. Anyways, let's see. Anyways, the response to this agent is what happens when we allow creators or personalities in the industry with impressionable young audiences to pivot into reactionary grift because they think it will be more profitable for their brand. Your young audiences will eat your bigotry up like yada yada yada. Why are all the sensitive men acting like agents? What, like agents' genders aren't revealed all the time before release? Why does this information matter? Are you stupid? Okay. Oh, agents' genders. Okay, biggest W I've seen from Riot yet. Really glad to see more LGBTQ plus representation proudly taking place in a community that's filled with the most toxic and hateful players. But why does it matter? Representation matters. Okay, so to all the crazies on both sides, by the way, this completely doesn't matter. I understand why you would be upset because of the pandering, because you think, rightfully so, that today's politics are getting inside games, and we all know that if this game was released in China, there would be no non-binary character. You know, if this game goes into Saudi Arabia, there won't be like any gay or trans characters. So we all know that these companies are just pandering to the Western audience because mental disorders, okay? But why does this not matter? First of all, let's talk about like closer to my side of the belief system. Why doesn't this matter? Because it's a fucking game. If you don't like this, honestly, don't play the game. Oh, but there's no other game like Valorant. Then, like, I'm sorry, either your principles matter or they don't. Okay, you can complain to the ether on Twitter all you want, but honestly, if this bothers you, don't play their games. If this really actually bothers you, don't play their games. And I'm sure like the people who support is like, yeah, fucking quit our game. You know, it's like, by the way, majority of your players don't care about this thing. Okay, majority of the players, if they leave because of this type of shit, you won't have a game. So shut the fuck up with stupid takes like, yeah, all these cis white men should leave. Majority of your players are cis white men. You fucking moron. If they're not there, they're the majority audience. I'm sorry, that's just how demographics work. Not sorry, really. Now, for the trans people and all the LGBT plus supporters, okay? Why do you care about this? It's like, oh, I want to be represented in a game. It's a fucking video game, okay, about people, or humans, let's call them, because they kind of look like humanoids, okay? They look human enough, even though, you know, they're not real. They're not real. They're cartoons, okay? Like they're like 3D generated characters, okay? They're not real. Why on earth are you trying to be represented by superpower, unrealistic movements? Like, there's nothing. Like, no one is represented by these characters. Like, oh well, this one looks like she's a female Asian. It's like, how much you bet? A lot of Asian people don't look like that. That person is not representing majority of Asians. Okay? The black guy who like goes back in time or whatever with the fire shit, right? You think he represents black people? Where are the fat black people at? Okay? Where are the bald people at who are black? Like this, like the game doesn't represent anyone, okay? The only thing that matters, if you want to talk about representation, what the character is, like, is he LGBT, is he like, you know, is he straight, is he gay, whatever, the only thing that matters is, does it make sense for the character? The lore in Valorant, for 99% of the people, is irrelevant. It's like, oh, but I like the lore. Okay, how would the lore change, realistically? How would the lore change if Clove was or wasn't trans? Does it change the world in any way? It doesn't, then it doesn't fucking matter. Then it's pure pandering. And that's all that matters, okay? I think this is why people are really upset about this, and overall, all these things about politicizing games and stuff, it's pandering, because everyone knows why they do it. They do it to pander. They don't do it for any reason. It doesn't add to the game in any shape, way, or form. Okay, Agent 77 in Overwatch was gay, actually. Okay, what's the story about this? Does it matter that he's gay? No. Then who cares? Why do you guys care about these things? They're like legit irrelevant. It doesn't change the game in any way. Final Fantasy 14, bro, if Urianger came out as gay, for no reason, you would have the same amount of outrage. Some people will be like, yeah, he's gay. And some people will be like, why the fuck is he gay? This doesn't change the story. Was there any reason for him to be gay? No. Then it's like, who cares, right? And honestly, this is funny enough. And this is where I'm going to stick with the, more so with the crowd that like supports this kind of change. And there's a lot of talk about this wheelchaired characters in a fantasy setting. And it's fucking hilarious because, like, yeah, some of the takes are really hilarious. There's like one take, and I'll add a picture as well. There is a take that it's so funny. I don't want to play a wheelchaired character whose biggest adversary is stairs in a magic world. Now again, I understand the funniness, but in my opinion, dude, a character that is wheelchaired in a fantasy game, I honestly don't even care about this. I think this is actually like a great idea. However, it has to make sense why they're wheelchaired. I don't even mind if a character was like the class was wheelchaired, right? It's like a specific class in like this, and like in this RPG, the only way they can learn this sort of magic is because they're like in order to learn this magic, they have to sacrifice their like lower limbs or like, you know, the legs, and it drains the power from the legs, so they can't walk, so they have to be on a wheelchair and whatever. Like, make it make sense. If it makes sense to the story, if it makes sense to the world, then fine. I don't think anyone would give a shit. But if you just say it's like, oh yeah, some mages are just like, their legs just don't work, and like there's no reason for it, then I'm sorry, like he kind of lost me, right? But at the same time, I think there is a lot of room for a character to be gay, a character to be trans, a character to be in a wheelchair. There is room for that, but you have to make it make sense for the world. Don't just throw it in there for pandering, and it just like, who gives a shit, right? Because that's when you get backlash. That's when people are like, well, why is he gay? Why is this person not binary? Why is this person in a wheelchair? Okay, it's like, well, because some people are. But what you don't understand is, no one is, like, for example, okay, I like the Final Fantasy 14 example better because, honestly, aside from Thancred in Final Fantasy 14, no one knows the sexuality of the others. You can assume what you want, but no one knows because there's absolutely no romance between the characters. The only reason Thancred, you know he's straight, is because he used to be a player, and that fits into his character and his growth. They made him into like this young player who likes to bang chicks, right? No one else you know anything about their sexuality, realistically, right? Maybe there are hints somewhere, but like realistically, you don't know. You might think that Rin might be gay, right? With forgot her name in the Eden raid, right? Like the other chick, right? Maybe they're lesbian, okay, but there's absolutely no, like, again, underage, so I can't even like really talk about this, right? But I've seen theories, okay? All I'm saying is that it's like, it doesn't matter unless it unless it moves the story forward. No one gives a shit. So stop caring about these things. Go outside, touch some fucking grass. This is a non-issue from both sides. I want to be represented in video games. Nobody is represented in video games. What's important in a video game is for the video game to be good. That's all that matters. Is anyone represented in Elden Ring? No. Do the characters, like, they kind of look human, but kind of not. Like, it's the same argument with, like, hot characters and, like, ugly characters. Like, I want to have... Why are these, like, this is from the topic of, Vindictus 2. Right? Vindictus was, like, over-sexualizes women. Then don't play the sexualized woman. Play a male character. No one, like, this is not issue. It's like, why do they care about appearances in the game? If the game is good, no one cares. Honestly. No one really cares. But when you force a certain aspect, like, and legit, it feels forced, that's what people don't like. People don't like forcing when you force ideologies on them. That's the only thing that matters, right? I don't think anyone really cares if there's, like, you can make a game, okay, where all the characters are trans, they're all LGBT, and the gameplay is good. No one will give a shit. Like, okay, this is just how this world is. This world is revolved around everyone being trans, okay? No one is acting like their own sex. All the men act like women, and all the women act like men, and that's how the world is constructed. But the gameplay is fucking solid, and it's really fucking good. Yeah, no one gives a shit. Then no one cares about this, right? As long as it makes sense, no one gives a shit about this, okay? So stop caring about this stupid thing. Start and understanding that when they, like, Riot throws shit like this, like, oh, Clove is actually non-binary, it's pandering. You're being pandered to. It's the same Hillary Clinton is carrying a fucking Tabasco sauce in her bag, and she has to have it there when she talks to black people, right? It's pandering, okay? That's all it is. Stop taking this shit so fucking seriously. It is a non-issue. It's not important. If this bothers you so much, honestly, dude, don't play the game. I know there's not a lot of games like Valorant out there, so it sucks, but bro, it's just a game. If this principle is that important to you, don't play the fucking game, right? That's it. And same for the LGBT supporting crowd. If this thing is so important to you that it's not in the game, when it's not in the game, you feel, oh, I don't feel represented, then don't play the game. Otherwise, like, stop bitching about it. Like, this is a non-issue. This is, like, legit. Like, there's bigger problems in the fucking world than some dumb shit like being represented in a video game. Nobody's represented in a video game because it's not real. It's a video game. It's cool if you can make a character look like you, but it is completely irrelevant even if you can't. Okay, it's like maybe 1% extra enjoyment out of a game. Stop thinking about these things. They absolutely do not matter. And that's where I want to end this video. Peace.